Hello and welcome to another episode of the Final Cut Presents Director's Cut podcast. Now, we are a little short in the co-host department, but we do have our trump card. We have the man who will make Mark Hamill's memory seem not really bad because he is the replacement for Mark Hamill. He is a Mark Hamill.
Wow.
I actually
Wow.
had to be honest with you, I actually had I did have something else, but I'll save that for next week.
Wow.
But then
Oh,
again, no one can get Mark
you
Hamill.
wonder why we can't get Mark Hamill on this show? This is why we can't get Mark Hamill on this show.
We don't need Mark Hamill. We've got one.
Oh, we don't need Mark Hamill. We got one. Well,
We
just
got
because
you.
I can do this. We've got, okay. So you're honestly going to sit there and say that we don't need a man with 40 years in one of the biggest movie franchises of all time. Actually, you know what? More than 40 years, the man was looked up to as a god. We don't need that.
Well, in fairness, the producer just doesn't even know who he is. So what can I say?
Yeah, but what can you really say about the producer just in general, not knowing who Mark Hamill is?
Because you think Scott Eastwood's fit, but he's not.
No, if you want to look at fit, look at the amount of training that Mark Hamill had to do. I can't remember if it was before Empire or before Jedi, the facial reconstructive surgery that he had to get. And you're telling me that that man won't do anything for a role.
Well, we'll see about that. But let's face it, he would do more than Michael Fraser would do.
He would. He would. As a matter of fact, when you look at Michael Fraser, who was entering the room right now, I have a feeling that he is late simply because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Michael Fraser went to go see a play last night. It was called Peppa Pig on Ice. And what can I tell you other than, Michael Fraser was the man among boys right there in that icebox. It was down there in Vancouver, British Columbia, which I know he's really, really close to. It was a lovely evening for the family, so we're not going to be too hard on him. Let's just say when Peppa broke out into that musical number about wanting to eat the slop, Michael was just completely enamored.
Yes, I'm also guessing that at the end of when Peppa Pig the musical finished, he gave a standing ovation for more than 5 minutes.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. See, what happened was when you have Peppa Pig being Peppa Pig, they actually had the actress who portrayed her having to stop and come out to the ice and say, "Michael, it's time to go home." And at that time, Fraser was just, oh, she knows my name. And he clapped and clapped and clapped. It's one of those amazing things you only see once in a lifetime. So again, we're going to be extra nice to him today, because he's probably just exhausted.
Yeah, he probably is.
Yeah. So anyway, what's up in the news, Mr. Connolly, sir?
Well, Monsieur Taskier, let me start by saying, firstly, for those who are interested, The Last of Us debuts today or tomorrow, depending on how you look at it. But before we go on to that, here we are. Hideo Kojima wants Death Stranding to be a new type of movie adaptation. He says the failure of film adaptations of games from a while back has led to movies that cater to gamers, right? That's why they have the same kind of look as a game. I don't want the Death Stranding movie to be like that. Rather, I'm taking the approach of changing and evolving the world of Death Stranding in a way that suits film well.
Now, keep in mind, if there's one thing that particularly the later Metal Gear Solids and Death Stranding are really guilty of, it is having a cinematic feel. Is Kojima in the director's seat for the Death Stranding movie?
Not yet. No cast. As far as I'm aware, no cast has been announced, no directors announced. But if Kojima is saying something like that, he will be center. I'll say center stage, but it just depends on if who they can get. I just say give it Chris Nolan; it'll be a masterpiece.
Well, here's the thing: if Kojima's the one directing it and he wants to try to evolve it for film, that is the perfect vision you can have. Whether or not you have an implementer that can work, Kojima's got a vision to be able to do that. Particularly, again, as I said, you look at Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, Metal Gear Solid 5, and what he's been able to do with Death Stranding. They are cinematic experiences. And it's one of those things that you can take a look at and you can say, okay, that's where you want to take this kind of storytelling for this specific kind of game.
Yeah. Charlie Cox has said new Daredevil series will be dark but not as gory as the original, which, to be fair, he will have a point because it's on Disney Plus and the MCU doesn't really go for that whole Netflix Marvel type of gore, he says. While most details about the upcoming Disney Plus Daredevil series are being kept tight wraps, Charlie Cox is confident that the show can appeal to a broader audience on Disney Plus and that the show will likely be less gory than the Netflix series.
Yeah, but again, that makes sense. What kind of rating is Daredevil going to get?
Well, if they bring Punisher into the MCU, that's going to have to be rated R for a start because you can't have a PG Punisher. You just can't.
Yeah. But I mean that also being said too, Disney MCU, especially on Disney Plus, has a certain specific formula that Daredevil on Netflix and I would argue some other Netflix series didn't actually adhere to. So this really isn't news to me.
Guess what? There's actually something breaking actually that can change the face of trailers forever. Movie studios can now be sued for deceptive or misleading trailers.
Finally!
In 2019, Ana de Armas appeared in trailers for the film Yesterday, the producer's favourite. But anybody who went to see Yesterday, as I did and we did, there was no such mention or anything of Ana de Armas. On this Tuesday, a bit ago, US District Judge Stephen Wilson ruled against Universal, saying this was false advertising which sets a new precedent for future trailers. So, in other words, now we are actually going to get truth in the trailers, but the only problem is there's still no law against putting literally every single best bit of a movie in a trailer.
Yeah, but you can't make a law against that, though. However, a law against deceptive trailers, that's been on the books and precedent for children and particularly children's toy commercials for a little while now. So it's nice to actually see it make its way into film because realistically, Phrase, you know this all too well. You could make a Spider-Man film seem all that wonderful and have it revolve around One More Day. And then when you get into the Spider-Man film, they don't adapt One More Day the way that you wanted to adapt One More Day. And then all of a sudden you are left pulling your hair out because at the end of the day, all you wanted was a goddamn One More Day so you could go to your co-host and you could say, hey, Fraser, did you see Spider-Man No Way Home? Did you? Hey, guess what it is? Guess what it is? A shot-for-shot remake of One More Day. You like that movie? But unfortunately, they did just enough to change that. So, whichever co-host I may be talking about, and I'm not even talking about myself.
I'm not even talking about me.
Yeah. So basically, to have that sort of deceptive advertising, now we're going to get a much truer sort of film.
Speaking, I actually might have a bit more One More Day news.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it does involve a Spider-Verse, so who knows? We might even have One More Day.
Yay! I've got my chip. I'm ready.
Across the Spider-Verse's co-writer and producer Phil Lord also added, the things that we are doing in this new Spider-Verse movie are breaking the pipelines all over again, but everyone's excited about it and not just terrified. He has also said that the sequel is definitely more insane. We finally made some people nervous. Is that before or after Nick Cage learned he wasn't coming back?
That gets me excited.
Didn't somebody want to sue trailers before? Like, wasn't there some issue before when it was like the Suicide Squad movie, the Joker scenes?
So trailers have been up in the air for a little while, not just comic book movies, but for movies in general, for being deceptive.
It's kind of Yeah, it's because kind of like if you advertise, if someone's in the trailer and then they don't end up being in the trailer, and somebody watches that movie simply for something they saw in the trailer. Basically, you're being trailed on. It's not even tramped on; it's trailed on. I never thought I'd say this, but I actually have a story from Jonah Hill.
Wow.
Yeah. Jonah Hill has opened up how he first got into acting, aided by prank calls he performed for Dustin Hoffman. I really would like to yeah. Hill became friends with Dustin Hoffman's kids while studying in New York and attending open mic nights. After being introduced to Dustin, Hill ended up making prank call CDs for the Academy Award-winning actor. Challenged by Dustin to call various friends and strangers too, Hill was tasked with keeping the person on the phone for as long as possible. In one instance, and this is actually, wow, Hill managed to get a hotel owner to agree to install a tank for a pet seal after pretending to be Tobey Maguire's assistant. What a guy.
Hey, look, all I'm saying is Mr. Maguire is kind of upset that the itsy bitsy spider can't go up your water spout.
Mm. Oh, Fraser, you've got Disney Plus, haven't you?
Yeah.
Great news. Black Panther Wakanda Forever should be available to stream on January 20th.
Oh,
but
nice.
I have a feeling it might be February because I think I've seen something on Disney Plus that might be February 1st. But either way, it's on in the next 2 weeks. So that's good because I haven't seen it yet, believe it or not. I have Bond news. Aaron Taylor-Johnson, or as Fraser knows him, Quicksilver, or as I know him, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, who's married to, what's her name?
And Kick-Ass.
Who's married to what's her name?
Oh, what is her name? Sam Taylor-Johnson, who did, unfortunately for me, 50 Shades of Grey, unfortunately. He has reportedly met with James Bond producers, and he's had a meeting with producers, and apparently he is, I wouldn't say the odds-on favourite, because even though Idris Elba has ruled himself out, him and Tom Hardy are still at the top, as is Henry Cavill. But to be honest with you, a lot of factors have actually ruled a lot of older ones out, because obviously Daniel Craig was in the role for at least a good, 13, 15 years? Idris Elba will be about
60. Yeah, 14.
Yeah. So Idris Elba is in his 50s. It won't be him. Tom Hardy will be 60 when that contract's up. It won't be him. Aaron Taylor-Johnson is in his early 30s, which, to be honest with you, there's only really him and Henry Cavill that I can think of that would actually suit that role in that age limit. But the thing is, as we all know, Cavill is gearing up for a Warhammer 40,000 movie. So the movies, that's MCU projects. That's more game. That's more Last.
The more big thing is, when is the next Bond releasing?
Don't know, mate. We still haven't got a Bond. We can't get a Bond. We can't start anything without.
So then, theoretically, you could have anybody be a Bond.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you, brand new. This is a Final Cut exclusive. Your new James Bond. He's going to be a different James Bond. He's going to be a more rough and tumble James Bond. Please introducing from the great state of New Jersey, Mr. Dean Connolly is your James Bond, and you're going to see it right here on Final Cut Presents the Director's Cut podcast. Mr. Connolly, are you excited for the role?
Ew, this never happened to the other fella.
See?
That was my really bad George Lazenby, who I know a lot of people, there's a lot that don't like George Lazenby as Bond, but I know there was one or two who were quite impressed. But the only thing I'm going to say to that is, what the hell were they thinking? I have Borderlands news.
Are we getting Tiny Tina's Wonderlands too?
No, this is movie-wise. After
Are we getting Tiny Tina's Wonderlands movie?
I don't know, but
that's the best one.
That's the best one. They might very well. After rumors surfaced that Terminator Dark Fate director Tim Miller had replaced Eli Roth as director of the Borderlands movie, it turns out Miller is now handling reshoots in an amicable offhand. Avatar: Way of Water continues box office dominance this week as it reached 1.7 billion globally, surpassing Jurassic World as the seventh biggest film in history. but it hasn't surpassed the original yet. It's not even surpassed Avengers Endgame yet.
Yeah, oh well.
Speaking of Idris Elba thinks Luther could become a James Bond style franchise. I just heard yeah, I know. Don't even go there. He thinks the upcoming Netflix film Luther, The Fallen Son, could potentially kickstart a James Bond style franchise with multiple movies centered around the famed titular detective. To be honest with you, they've got 5 seasons of Idris Elba. They don't need any spin-offs or sequels or anything like that.
No, please give us more. Why not?
I actually have a bit of Chris Nolan news here.
Of course you do.
Of course I do. Now, did you know that although we all love Gary Oldman playing Commissioner Gordon, but did you know that Gary Oldman wasn't Chris Nolan's first choice?
Yes, I did.
Who was his first choice then?
I forget who the first choice was, but I do know that they turned the role down.
He originally offered it to Kurt Russell, but
that was it.
Turned it down. He offered it Chris Cooper. He also declined due to time commitments required for the film. Dennis Quaid was considered, but that deal fell through. And then he cast Gary Oldman. But, to be honest with you, I do like Dennis. I still love Dennis Quaid. I can't see him as much as Commissioner Gordon, though.
He's a little too unlikable.
Yeah. Chris Cooper, all I have in my mind is Green Goblin.
See, Chris Cooper, whenever I hear the name Chris Cooper, I think of he's Tex Richmond. Everybody listen, just how great it is to be him. He's the greatest. He's the greatest. Muppets are a waste of time. Oh, can't you see?
By the way, who won some Rockstar Games news?
I don't, but I know my friend here does.
Oh, good. Lindsay Lohan once tried to sue Rockstar.
Oh, for the love of God, that's not news.
Oh
my God! Oh my God! This girl in the game looks like me. You're a blonde with boobs, Lindsay. It looks like me. They did the thing. It looks like me. It looks like me. Damn it! It looks like me. I'm listening. Leave me alone.
I'll tell you what. I'll say about
short money from the goddamn publisher. Who, by the way, yeah, did nothing to deserve it. That'd be like Robin Williams going into The Legend of Zelda and suing over a tribute that they put in there, that they admitted they put in there for Robin Williams, that does not look like Robin Williams, but puts in enough inspiration so you can see it's Robin Williams. It's a random NPC. She's complaining about a random NPC in an open world video game.
Reeks of desperation.
Stupid.
I actually have some Formula One news. Drive to Survive is coming back on the 24th of February. I'm more than excited for that. I really can't wait to see how Ferrari's season fell apart, how they should have won the title, but they didn't. How Mercedes really struggled with porpoising to the point that Lewis Hamilton couldn't get out of his car. And the fact that Danny Ricciardo will no longer be on the grid this year, which is mortifying for everyone because he's just so loved.
Indeed. But especially horrifying for one Brooklyn fan, Dean Connolly.
Yes.
Who puts his entire career behind the prospects of what F1 does in Drive to Survive. To not have one of his favorite drivers in has broken his heart, mind, and soul into 13 equal pieces.
Actually, with Danny Ricciardo, it's about 26 broken pieces because everyone loves Danny Ricciardo.
Okay, I was close.
Oh, actress Kate Hudson, the daughter of Goldie Hawn, has signed with Sandbox for music management ahead of an album release. Kate Hudson has signed with Sandbox Entertainment Group for music management. The company announced writing this album over the past year and a half has been the most gratifying and immersive experience. In signing with Sandbox, Hudson joins a talent roster that includes Kelsey, a ballerina,
Dan plus Shay, Faith Hill, Casey Musgraves, Little Big Town, and the Johnny Cash estate. Yeah, I'm actually going to carry on because Nathan's actually speechless for a change. Ant-Man 3 producers say the film will be as important and integral to the MCU as Civil War.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
Oh, by the way, Nathan, you know we were on about Hogwarts Legacy?
Yes, I was.
Simon Peck has joined the cast, where he will
yes, he did.
Yes, Nigellus Black.
Yes, he did. He is Headmaster Nigellus Black. I am super excited for that casting choice. And I am looking so forward to Hogwarts Legacy, despite the controversy around it, that it's just going to make my inner wizard go nuts.
I'm going to make
Fraser. Going to be.
I was about to say I'm going to make Fraser go nuts now by mentioning Fast and Furious.
Well, and I got to know what house you're going to be, Nathan.
Oh, for the love of God, I got to go through a whole test for that phrase. I'm not going to just sit there. I have been in every Hogwarts house in some iteration of Harry Potter lore. I've been in Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff. I have to go through a whole thing. The biggest thing for me, phrase, is I don't want to be in Hufflepuff. That's the one thing I do know.
I'm in House Hufflepuff.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. Other than Cedric Diggory, name one important member of the Hufflepuff house.
I'm out.
See? There is nobody significant in the first 7 Harry Potter books that was in Hufflepuff other than the guy you had to kill off. I'm sorry, at least Ravenclaw has Cho Chang and Luna Lovegood. Okay, Cho is Harry's love interest. Luna Lovegood is a goddess. Okay, if you ever get Evanna Lynch on here, she's a goddess, I will be here.
Go on, carry on.
Gryffindor has Potter. Slytherin is Snape as headmaster or as head of Slytherin House. So, I mean, especially if you like the Alan Rickman portrayal of Snape, which I do, it's an amazing thing. And even in the books, to have somebody who is that big of a biased dick in your favor is always a great thing to have.
Who wants to mock Elon Musk?
I do.
All right. Elon Musk has earned a place in the Guinness World Records for the largest ever loss of personal wealth after Tesla's stock plummeted. Now, would you two gentlemen like to know roughly how much he's lost?
Wasn't it 163 million?
Well, it's got 153 here, but according to
Twitter,
his net worth dropped from a peak of 320 billion to 138 billion as of this month, largely due to the poor performance of Tesla's stock. And do you want to know what's even worse about it?
What?
The previous loss was 58.6 billion set by Japanese tech inventor Masayoshi Son in 2000. So literally, he has not only broken the record, he's doubly broken it.
I am so impressed.
How the hell can someone lose that much in 14 months?
Hey. Are we talking personal wealth or overall wealth here? Because if you were to purchase Twitter, I'm not sure that's a
personal wealth.
Okay, so it's just the Tesla, Tesla stock. Well, I knew that tech companies were hurting because of the chip shortages due to the pandemic, but
and the other thing is cryptocurrencies are collapsing as well.
They tanked.
Yeah, hard. FTX has gone into administration. Mercedes have cut their financials, have basically severed their sponsorship. Ferrari have cut their sponsorship with Velaz as well. I believe Red Bull have cut their sponsorship with Bybit. Haas never had one, so they were all right. They're still I think Tezos is still on McLaren's car at this point in time. But to be honest with you, I think the entire F1 world had a bit of a wake-up call when FTX just crashed and burned. So, by the way, if anyone in the cryptocurrency world wants to sponsor us, with all due respect, you need to sort yourself out. Never mind us.
Just give me the money in cash, please. I will take the money in cash. Please convert your crypto out into cash and give me the money if you want to sponsor us. Thank you so much for wanting to invest in a podcast that isn't going down in the billions.
Yeah. Kevin Feige has personally asked Ke-Huy Quan to join the MCU. By the way, if anyone doesn't know who that is, one, watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, in which case it's not, it's Temple of Doom, sorry. I correct myself. Temple of Doom, in which case he is Short Round, or Data in the Goonies, which is a very, very great, endless, timeless classic. If you've not seen Goonies, producer, you really need to. I still don't think the producers ever watched Goonies, even though I've tried to get to watch it.
Do the truffle shuffle. Maybe then she'll watch it.
Oh, yeah. I could actually do the truffle shuffle back in the day. But anyway, he joked on a recent podcast that nobody wants to hire me except Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, the Daniels, and Kevin Feige. Then adding 2022 is the year I will always remember because it's one of the happiest years of my life.
Good for him.
Yeah, not even bothering with that. I actually have a bit of comic book news now for a change. The Penguin series will begin filming soon and will set up the sequel to the Batman Matt Reeves has told Collider. Obviously, Colin Farrell is a part of it. Oh, who's got Netflix here?
I might.
I have really bad news. Sam Raimi's original Spider-Man trilogy is leaving Netflix on the 1st of February.
Oh, no! Wherever will I watch it? On what streaming platform could I possibly see all the Spider-Man movies all in one place? Wherever will I go, Dave? Wherever will I go?
Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah. I knew it was only a matter of time.
Yeah.
And
I think it's actually on. I think it's on Disney Plus now. To be honest,
yeah, it is.
Yeah, so anybody who's got Disney Plus and is worried that it's going to leave, when it leaves Netflix, it will not go to Disney Plus. In England, anyway, it's already on there. FX's chairman John Landgraf shared an update on the progress of the upcoming Alien series, saying that writer Noah Hawley is writing scripts and gearing up for production. So that's some good news. Best thing is, I believe FX is actually on Disney Plus as well.
It is for you. It's not for us.
Which is a bit of a shame. The Boys producer has said season 4 shows the most disgusting thing so far. Stephen Fleet, who is one of the producers, said, I think I just saw the most disgusting thing I've seen working in this business thus far. And he's been quoted as saying that while working on season 4. But to be honest with you, it can't be any worse than last season. It just can't.
Oh, you never know, Dean. Never say it can't be as bad. It can always get worse.
Just put Bruce Campbell in it.
I'm not going to say anything.
No, he's not.
Dean's upset because Pauly D can't get into movies lately. You should see.
There we go. Straight to that.
He's always just like, you know who'd be perfect for this role, Pauly D. And then he goes on, and then he's calling us cabbage heads. And then he's going on about that South Park episode and everything. And he does this for like an hour before we start.
Do not. That's harsh.
Nathan, you've been there. You've heard the Endless Nights.
Fraser, which South Park episode was it again?
It's the one where they find out Kyle is from Jersey.
Oh, yes. You're absolutely right.
Yes, I haven't seen it.
With the Jersey, with Sheila Broflovsky. So basically what he'll do, what Dean will do, and this is like Fraser, back me up on this. For 1 hour and 47 minutes, Dean will make sure he's got that special tan, that Jersey brown tan. He will apply 2 coats of it to his hand, and then he will get himself off. He'll get himself off camera, and then he'll say, "Okay, precious, it is time to do my body. Do not worry."
Do you realize you just said he gets it off?
Well, I'm just
That's
saying
the worst thing you could have.
he gets his head, and then all of a sudden he says, "Okay, precious, it's time." And so basically, what happens is for the rest of an hour and a half, Mel just squirts him over with Jersey tan, and then
Actually, I have something Fraser will really be interested to know.
there's
And
a
it's
whole
about-
vocal
it's about the
warm up
X-Men.
thing, and it's about the X-Men. Well, that's nice. And then so what happens is whenever Dean gets all of him self tanned up, it's sort of like He-Man in a way because he says, "I have the power," and then he remembers that he has to be on.
Vince Russo.
And then he has to go back on to Brit mode because he remembers, "No crap! I built my reputation on my dignity." Producer! Producer! What?
As he's screaming it, though.
Like even now, he's taking a look because he's looking around for his absurdly giant golden chain that he carries around.
I am not a chaff.
Inside of his chain, there's a little locket, and inside the locket is of his one true love, which changes every week. Sometimes it's Sandler, sometimes it's Bosworth, sometimes it's Ben Stiller, sometimes it's Mario Lopez from Saved by the Bell. That's right, Mario Lopez from Saved by the Bell. Mario Lopez from Saved by the Bell. And then he'll say stuff like, "Hey, at least it's not Zach Morris. That Zach Morris is trash. How could you possibly ever have someone have that many hijinks on Saved by the Bell? Freaking Belding, he was so good to Zach, and Zach treated him like crap, and I can't stand it. And crap, I got a reputation to uphold. Producer, get in here." And then she has to give him voice training lessons, like literally every time after he puts on the spray tan so he can come here today. So realistically, when you take a look, it is absolutely insane the amount of dedication he goes to be ready for you guys each and every week.
Damn you, Nath.
What?
You muted me.
No, I would never.
Yes, you did.
I would never mute you. You've gone completely insane now, Dean. Relax.
Nath.
Dean?
Quiet.
Oh, you want to be quiet? Oh, okay.
No, you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have another piece of news here. After 15 years, Phineas and Ferb is coming back to the air, and we actually have an interview with Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz right here with us. Heinz, yes! How excited are you that Phineas and Ferb is coming back? Oh, Phineas and Ferb is wonderful! I capture the platypus all the freaking time! But before I go any further, can I just say, the one person I really want to talk to on this podcast is Dean Connolly. I've had obsessions before, but Dean's obsession with Kate Bosworth, it goes crazy. It's like a Kate in a movie. Kate Bosworth in a movie? Well, Dean is actually right here, Heinz. It's amazing. Dean, I want to tell you that I really respect your work. As an evil genius who wants to take over the tri-state area, let me tell you, it is not easy to just take over some sort of obsession like that and bring it into your daily life. Is he okay? I think he's okay, Heinz. I think. Fraser, I don't know. Did Dean kind of just like blow up in the face? What's going on?
Yeah, I spontaneously combusted just about.
Oh, it happens to me all the time.
Oh,
He's watching the new Velma show, so
I haven't actually watched it yet, to be honest.
Nathan, have you watched it? Aren't you the scoop head in this chat?
No.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I haven't watched.
Fair enough, and I'll move it on then. Giancarlo Esposito has been in the room with Marvel to discuss portraying Professor X. And the best thing is, we know him as Gustav Fring in Breaking Bad, and Better Call Saul, we know him as Moff Gideon. And if I seem to remember my comic book history correctly, Phrase, I seem to remember that Charles Xavier once or twice was actually the villain of the piece.
Yeah.
He's actually
has questionable moments. The same with the Ultimate Universe. And...
yeah. He did actually tell Jimmy Fallon on the Tonight Show, I want to play a good guy. Charles Xavier's smart, he's good. But I feel as if there may be some mileage with me and Marvel. I know I love what they do. I know I love creativity, so who knows what could happen. Keep putting it out there. So who wants to see Moff Gideon transferred to the other side of Disney?
Well, it depends. If you think he's going to be great for the role, then of course I want to see him transfer, because Xavier is one of those things that I absolutely, positively have to have correct. Patrick Stewart was an amazing Xavier, and if you're going to go through the route of a villainous Xavier, then you have to have somebody who can pull off that same wit of Xavier, I will say.
I do actually want to end the news on a bit of a lighter note, on a bit of a happier note. There is a reason why I've done this as well. Quaden Bales went viral 3 years ago after his mother posted a video of him begging kids who were bullying him to stop it. Shortly after, he made headlines for the heartbreaking video. He was handpicked by Mad Max director George Miller to appear in his film 3,000 Years of Longing, and he was so impressed by him. He also cast him in Furiosa, which is the sequel to Mad Max. The director told Sidney Money how it was good for us and it was good for him, and he did such a good job. He's got a small role in Furiosa. All I'm going to say is wow.
That's nice to hear.
It is nice to hear. It's like when, I don't know if you remember, but there was a guy who used to do like Baby Iron Man shorts on YouTube. And if I remember the headline correctly, he was actually, I'll say not headlined, but he was actually hired by Paramount to do stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a while ago, though. So more than likely he's in his £1 million mansion, making mine screenplays day by day. We've got to pick two topics this week, Phrase, because I was going to do Last of Us, but Nathan doesn't want to talk about it.
No, and the reason I don't want to talk about it is something that's really, really gotten to a point where I am no longer going to take it. We get
I crave something. I crave a bit of Last of Us. I crave knowledge. I crave Fraser.
The one thing I can honestly say that I do not crave is freaking Crave. So HBO Max is locked up with Crave, which in itself is a $20 a month service here in Canada. Because of the way that some film rights have worked their way around and some TV rights have worked their way around, I have to pay an additional $20 a month in order to watch The Last of Us. There are a couple other things too, but unlike something like a Netflix or Disney Plus, there is not enough there for me to justify the expense. So with all due respect, it's a shame because I know The Last of Us is going to be spectacular. I'm not going to be watching it anytime soon.
Unfortunately. Let me just scroll over that because I've literally got everything together about it. So the second topic, Phrase, is Terminator reboot's being discussed by James Cameron. I immediately saw this headline and went, no. He said James Cameron has confirmed that discussions are taking place to reboot Terminator franchise. He said that he would shift the focus from AI instead of bad robots. But I'm sure we've had plenty of ones like that. In a new interview on Smartless Podcast, which was a couple of weeks ago, filmmaker suggested he hasn't given up hopes of the reboot. Says, if I were to do another Terminator movie and maybe try and launch that franchise again, which is in discussion but nothing's been decided, I would make it much more about the AI side than bad robots gone crazy. Technically, isn't AI going bad literally what that is anyway?
When you don't
sort of. It depends on how you want to do it. whether or not it's robots going crazy, in which case the robots are murders, or whether or not you're talking about the AI in your home, the Alexa, the Google, and all those other things, the voice control in your phone going crazy and wanting to enslave you. There's a lot of different ways you can go with something like that. However, if you were going to do something like that, I would want to see it with the Terminator name.
I would want, me personally, I'd rather see it without, because to be honest with you, 2 movies in with the Terminator name are just iconic. And I do know that this was T2 hit, that was it. Everything else went so far south, it was unbelievable. Yeah. Even Terminator Dark Fate, which I loved, is just like, it's not T2. It's just not. So regardless of how James Cameron's going to play it, I still think that whatever he makes, no matter what he does, there's still going to be a case of, right, there's T2, we don't need anything else. It was like in the olden days when Star Trek fans, who when they heard there was a new movie coming out in 1979, they were like, oh yeah, we've got our 3 series, we don't really need anything else. But me personally, I don't want to see, if you're going to do something like that, make it into a new franchise where it's not going to have it's literally not going to be judged before it's even released or even made. To be honest with you boys, I just say just leave it as it is. Dark Fate wasn't a very bad end to it. It could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse. T1 and T2 are iconic and legendary. Just leave the Terminator franchise like that. It doesn't matter what you're going to do, whether you reboot it, whether you put another sequel to it, it just won't be the same. And everyone will think, yeah, I'd rather have saved money and gone home and watched Terminator 2. Because to be honest with you, I think as far as I go, as far as every other movie aside from T2, I have watched it, but it has not made me want to watch it again. So as far as I'm concerned, James Cameron can just leave that and go and make another 5 Avatar movies.
I would say something here, but then you've absolved T2 of any wrongdoing, which, I mean, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If you absolve T2 of any wrongdoing, then you've got my support on anything that you say. Terminator 2 is a classic. It's a landmark. You've still got a freaking Universal show running about it to this day. If you have a Terminator 2, which was that good, improved on the sequel that much of a movie that was already pretty goddamn good.
Not to mention it introduced a special type of visual effect as well.
Yeah.
Which at the time...
Which is still... And it's still used a fair bit. And it inspired so many iterations and so many evolutions of it. Like, you can't have something as groundbreaking as Terminator 2 and say, okay, reboot it.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's time. If you're going to take the story in a different direction, which I am super supportive of, well, that's cool. Have it be under something else.
Have it not... You can have it as similar, but not something that goes along the same lines of it. So, to be honest with you, it's actually because of T2 Judgment Day that I sort of am worried that one day the AI that we have right now will become a bit too clever for its own good, and then we will have our very own Judgment Day here. So who knows? Maybe James Cameron won't even need to make the movie because the movie will make itself.
Maybe.
Where's our dear Mr. Fraser? He seems to have gone a bit quiet.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a long one.
Is it longer than your usual, or do we have to worry that Joe Flex has come out?
Maybe, we'll see. First, we got to talk about the biggest travesty with James Cameron. The joke in Entourage was that he made an Aquaman movie. They finally make an Aquaman movie, and they don't tap James Cameron. The funniest thing that could have ever happened was that leading to him making an actual Aquaman movie, because that would have just been amazing. You can't really mess with the Terminator franchise. Like, the third one wasn't that good, or Savior. Doesn't he go to a vet and stuff, and she outsmarts him, saying they use that to basically like deal with dogs with worms, and then she beats them up and shoves them in the dog cage.
That was D2, I think.
No, that was 3. In the second one, he's a kid. So like the movies bombed, and they went on and on, and they just got worse and worse and worse. And then they redid the timeline for no necessary reason. And then we never got to see John Connors become John Connors. We heard about like the legend of John Connors, and then we never saw it. We saw him like as, and there's no point of spoilers because like the movie's been out forever. Then we see him as like a Terminator trying to take everybody out and everything.
I actually thought that was a good idea. How they actually did Genesis was a good idea. But what I don't agree with is the fact that they tried to do it. They tried to reset the timeline. Basically, they had Star Trek syndrome. I didn't mind it, but it was kind of like they could have done so much more with it.
But we never got to see John actually become like the legend John Connors and everything. Like we never got to see what they built John up to always be.
Yeah. We actually had Salvation where he was he hasn't become the John Connor yet, but he was on his way. But yeah, I do share your frustration with not actually having the proper John Connor. I mean, to be honest with you, I remember Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles starring Lena Headey. Oh, that should never have finished. That was absolutely brilliant. All 2 seasons, I was hooked.
That show was really good. Like everything they did. And John felt more like an actual kid in that. Like, he had this great destiny upon his shoulders, and he very much didn't want it. And I like that they actually showed that more than some of the other films. Like you actually see the stuff John goes through, and at one point they like this bit of spoiler. They like find him with like I think a gun in his room, and Sarah's talking to him about like him possibly trying to take his life and everything. Because like John is supposed to be the savior of humanity and everything, and he literally has been on the run since he was a child and everything. But the problem is like everything they culminate in all those movies where it's like John Connor is important, and they talk about it. And then we get that next one, and John's like, all right, I'm just gonna like take all you guys out now. And just that's the problem. We never got to see John like be this legendary hero we all heard about constantly. And that kind of seems like bad storytelling, that you build him up and build it up and then you do nothing. I feel like we got Spy Kids 3. You remember when they're talking about Elijah Wood?
Yeah.
Like, the guy! And then he shows up and he just gets nuked. So then Terminator 2 is amazing. Like, if I was going to show anyone the Terminator movies, I probably would show them that one. Because it's just everything about that movie was great from like start to end. And the problem is they haven't been able to recreate that magic with any of the Terminator movies. If they're going to do a bunch of other stuff now, they should just leave it alone, because that last Terminator movie basically put the bullet in the head of John Connors.
Yeah.
That's how dead the franchise is. And I hate to say that because like I like 2's like the best one ever, but it seemed eventually they didn't care. They prolonged the story with no plan, and with all the alterations they did, if they were going to make the one where John finally becomes John Connors and we see like everything going down up to the war, after the war, all the stuff that happened when Kyle went back, so we see like what John was doing and everything, I can see that. But they didn't. They basically destroyed their story so they could do a reboot. And I don't really see a point of that whatsoever, because now like everything is muddled up to the point that basically Sarah is the main focus now. So basically John was irrelevant, because the whole original story comes down that John became completely irrelevant. If they're going to do other stuff with AI and all, and this is my issue with the movie Megan, from the stuff I've heard about, they could have got real creative with the AI and all this other stuff, but they eventually just played it safe. If you're going to play off of all this, like, do it. Like, don't keep rehashing, like, Terminator. There are a number of different ways you can do AI and everything. You don't need to, like, lob it into your universe. We don't really need to see all that, because we know what eventually happens, and it all leads to nothing, so. Also, James Cameron, like, we all give you crap that Jack could have lived, and your big excuse is, oh no, man, he needed to die, and then apparently you're going to discuss it at some point and everything. Just get over it. Just get over it.
Fraser, it already has been discussed.
And he's wrong, so.
Would you like to test that theory out?
James Cameron's always wrong. James Cameron complains about other movies, and then those movies beat his movies. And his big thing for, it's funny because he had to think about this for years, because his big excuse to people was, yeah, man, the dude needed to die. And it took him years to come up with this explanation when he could have dealt with it years ago. So that would be like you coming up to me, Dean, and being like, well, there's this. And then like I take like 10 or 20 years to reply to the one thing you told me.
I'm still waiting for that to happen, by the way.
Yeah, so like I'm not going to trust anything James Cameron says if it took him that long to come up with an answer when he could have answered it like 20 years ago.
So I think we're basically unanimous. We do not want a Terminator reboot whatsoever.
Yep, like he can just keep making his Avatar movies, but I still think he should have just made Aquaman. They should have just ran with the Entourage joke and actually did the Aquaman movie.
So that's one part out of the way. So the next part, as Nathan has very kindly demonstrated, is just a bit of a preview for The Last of Us. I've been accumulating the newsreels on Instagram for the last couple of weeks in preparation for this. Now, be honest with you, I'm going to make Nathan slightly envious. I can actually watch it tomorrow whenever I want because I have Sky and Now TV. Sky isn't mine, by the way. But the one thing I will say, I am excited for it. It does look quite good. I will say what I've actually clicked over the last couple of weeks. The Last of Us co-creator calls the show the best, most authentic game adaptation. Neil Druckmann said in an interview with New Yorker that he believes the HBO show will be the best, most authentic game adaptation yet. Ultimately adding, hopefully this will put that video game curse to bed. Fraser will be excited. Neil Druckmann said that the executives on a Last of Us film adaptation wanted to make a particular kind of movie and asked potential director Sam Raimi to make things bigger and sexier, wanting the film to be like World War Z, but that's not what the game is. World War Z is more like 28 Days Later. As in the running zombies, that one,
Oh, no, I know. I was just letting you do your thing.
Oh, I thought Nathan looked a bit right. So, The Last of Us series creators have hinted at what might happen with a season 2 of a HBO show, as the first season will complete the full story of the first game, which is fair enough. So, expected to be quite muggy and then expected to be rather cold. Reflected on his career and The Last of Us series, Neil Druckmann speculated about whether or not we could see a part 3. He does actually say, and I quote ITHR, there's more story to tell. Again, Neil Druckmann has also added that we have no plans to tell any stories beyond adapting the game. So there will only be 2 seasons. There might be a third one if a new game is made, but we don't know yet. Also, IGN has actually rated The Last of Us, and I don't mean to really piss Nathan off because I'm feeling I'm about to. IGN actually gives it a 9, and it says, this is the entire season review. HBO's Last of Us is a breathtaking adaptation of one of the most impactful stories told in video games and brilliantly brings Joel and Ellie's journey to a whole new audience. It successfully builds out the world of a game while also switching up some aspects to almost entirely stunning effect. Actually, on the next bit, it says, anchored by 2 outstanding lead performances from Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal, Last of Us delivers an enriching show for fans while also managing to stay welcomingly thrilling to newcomers. It's briefly sat at 100% positive score on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that we care about Rotten Tomatoes because you might as well just call Rotten Tomatoes. What else have we got? Actually, that is the last thing I have on that. Actually, to say I am actually genuinely excited by it because I actually have played The Last of Us Part 1, and I think if anything, it's not that I am looking forward to it, but I'm more intrigued by how everything's going to be portrayed. I will say one thing: I have actually had a look at the actors who are actually in this, and they do look very familiar with their video game counterparts, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes sense.
But there is there is one thing I want to know. Is it? Oh, what do you call it? Is it the clickers? I'm sure they're called clickers. I really want to know how long it took someone to become a clicker in makeup, because that must be at least 5-6 hours just to put all that makeup on. Bearing in mind, clickers aren't exactly what you would call just literally put a load on your face and that's it. No, there's extra layers. There's complete and utter texture. That's literally about as thick as you can get. I generally am excited. I don't really think there's what TV series am I excited for? Aside from Drive to Survive, I'm excited for
The Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Oh, shut up! No, I don't watch that. I don't watch that crap.
Kardashians.
I'm always excited for that. I just want to see Kris Jenner fall into a garbage dumpster when actually it's not Kris Jenner, it's Khloe Kardashian. You know what? I don't even know, but I've always watched. I've watched Drive to Survive for the last 3 years. I'll say 3 years. I've genuinely enjoyed it. It is nice to have something original. Obviously, there was House of the Dragon last year. No idea when the second series is going to be done. But I will say one thing about HBO. Despite all the shit that we Brits have to put up with, like we can't even get HBO Max for another couple of years. But I will say this. They absolutely bring out some absolute belters. Last of Us, there's Euphoria as well, which is another must-watch. Yes, I have actually. I've started watching it, but unfortunately, my mind seems to veer back to the Grand Tour and John Wick. I know, Lucian. Who doesn't love John Wick? So, whereas my dear Nathan will not be watching it because it requires an arm and a leg to actually purchase it in Crave. Yeah, I know. Even little Lucian's disappointed that he won't be able to watch it. So, Fraser, since I will be watching it because I have satellite, Nathan can't watch it because he just can't be bothered to. Not so much he can't be bothered, but he doesn't want to go through the agony.
Putting yet another streaming service onto my thing for honestly, I would just watch The Last of Us and like maybe a couple other movies.
Either way, is it on Netflix in Canada or is it on HBO Max?
What?
Last of Us.
It would be HBO. It'd be HBO through Crave.
And you've already used your week's trial, haven't you?
Well, no, you can't. They won't let you do that anymore.
Really?
I haven't. Yeah, they've taken that away from us, at least for a little while. There is a way that you can get pizza and get 5 or 7 days or 30 days of Crave or something like that. It's ridiculous here, and I don't want to go through that BS, so I'm not going to go through that BS. Yeah, exactly.
So, what about you, Fraser? Are you going to dare the Crave factor and go and watch Last of Us on HBO?
No, I'm probably wait until they eventually release it in like physical, just because like I already have Amazon Prime now. I already have Netflix. I already got Disney Plus. Heck, I even use Tubi at this point, and I still don't have enough time to sit down and watch everything.
Oh, I'll tell you what, if you say you've got Amazon Prime, there is actually a nice little horror movie moments that you might like. So if you can get a week's free trial on Shudder, because that's where it is, I'll find you I'll go on Prime Video after we've done this, and I'll get you the title of what it is, but it's absolute mint. There's a load of movies on there I didn't even know existed. Yes, Ringu's on there, Nathan. There's actually a few Korean movies on there, actually.
And then I just got to address one thing, because everyone's all butthurt about them not having Ashley Johnson as Ellie, but the actor they got, she fully is backing behind, so I have no issue that she's not going to be the main character, but she's going to be the mom in it, so.
Troy Baker's going to be in it.
Nice.
I I heard someone say he's not playing Joel, but he is playing a part of it. So everyone who fancies a bit of an Easter egg, keep your eye out for Troy Baker if you know what he looks like.
But I do hope it's going to be good, though, because like those games were really hyped up. We loved them. And, then there's the issues in the second game that people are upset about. But I don't really play the game.
That being said, though, the issues that they have with the second game, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. It's mainly just social issues. If that makes any sense. The Last of Us are brilliantly made games with a wonderful environment and great storytelling all throughout them. Great acting all throughout them.
By the way, I haven't played the last one, so you'll have to give me an example of said social issues.
Lesbian kiss.
Oh my fucking god!
Well, that is, they even
someone literally had a fit.
Well, yeah, it got real out of control. Like they even threatened like the voice actor of one of the antagonists,
who's
best friends with Ashley Johnson.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, that's how ridiculous it got.
Hello, kids. This is how fucked up our world is. When someone takes offense at two women kissing.
People were even forging actor tweets to make like some of the outlandish stuff seem like certain things were like backed by them and stuff. Like it hit ridiculous levels.
Please tell me this was just all on Twitter.
Oh, it was on Twitter and other places and everything.
Oh my god!
It blew up.
Like it was pretty bad to the point even the whole Critical Role casters like, you want to come for her, you got to go through everybody here. So
you have to go for every clicker that's actually willing to dress to actually have clicker makeup on as well. And all they'll do is just click. That'll annoy them to the point. No, I can't be bothered with this. But yeah, that seems a bit petty. But yeah, for those who have got HBO, it's January 15th now when we actually take this. So figuratively speaking, for us it's tomorrow, but if you're listening to this anytime after January 16th, it should be available to watch on HBO Max. I think it's Sky Max because Sky's changed so much. So it'll be available on Sky, Crave, if you dare go through the lunacy that every Canadian has to go through, or HBO Max itself. By the way, boys, I actually do have a bit of a warning for anybody who just wants to buy it just for that. I was actually going to bring this up in case we didn't get another topic. I actually have the monthly price of streaming services here. And guess what's top?
What?
HBO Max.
Oh,
bearing in mind, this is the ad-free tier. HBO Max is $16. Netflix is $15.50. Amazon Prime is $15. Hulu is $15. Disney Plus, a rather cheap $11. And Apple TV, which is almost a bargain of the century, $7.
Now, see, for us, it's a little different. Your highest tier of Netflix will set you back between $23 and $24, depending on where you are in Canada. $26 with taxes in. Crave in of itself is $20. Amazon Prime Video is lumped in with your Amazon membership. It works out roughly to around $9 a month. Disney Plus is $12 a month.
If you well, here it's about, I think it's about £8 a month, or if you get it in a yearly, it's about £80.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You save money if you go yearly with your Disney Plus. It's just one of those things. Streaming services are exploding, and at this time, as somebody who's relatively conscious with my money, I have to think, do I use this service enough to justify its cost? Is it having something out right now that justifies its cost that I haven't seen?
I would say Disney Plus for you, yes.
Yeah, I've said many times, vote with your wallet. I have told people who use my streaming services, don't be surprised if I cut something in 2023, because I've been contemplating cutting one or two services. and especially if I have to go and get something like a Crave
Yeah.
for whatever reason, I'm not going to do it.
But there is also some benefits. I see because the producer has new iPhones either every 1 year or 2 years. And
if you get a new Apple product, you get a year of Apple TV.
Indeed, so that's literally a free streaming service for you. Sky at the minute, I think if you go with Sky, you get either 6 months free Netflix or 6 months free Disney Plus. To be honest with you, Prime, if you've already got Amazon Prime, that's included in it. So if you buy a lot of stuff, and I know someone in my apartment block who literally buys something new every day, then it's fine for her. We actually, I'm going to say, we literally have just about everything. But to be honest with you, the producer actually has more of Prime Video than the only reason I actually would keep a lot of this, because we've got Paramount Plus as well. The only reason that I would keep Paramount Plus is because Star Trek's on there.
I'm keeping Paramount Plus at $5 a month for South Park.
Yeah, exactly. And there is a new season of Strange New Worlds being filmed, which I still think is one of the best Trek series ever.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick's now on there. I have started watching Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone as well. It's I do actually like it, although I don't kind of agree with somebody literally freaking out that she's literally better than a 75-year-old man, which is a kind of like a bit, oh. So how old did you think he was when you slept with him drunkenly?
Don't worry, I only thought he was 60.
I will say another thing, gentlemen. We've actually got a deal on a load of things. So we've got a deal on Shudder, we've got a deal on Lionsgate Plus. By the way, there's no John Wick movies on Lionsgate yet. But there is Tokyo Vice, which stars Ansel Elgort and Ken Watanabe, which I started watching last night. And to be honest with you, I've only seen the first episode, but it does look to be quite good. I'll tell you who is in it. In Pacific Rim, where you have Idris Elba's adopted daughter.
Mm-hmm.
It's her. She's in it as well. She's not in it that much, but suffice to say, I was kind of like, do I know her or something? So I looked it up on IMDb and I thought, why does she look familiar? And then I saw what she was in, and it was actually Pacific Rim, and I thought, that's where I know her from. But yeah, to be honest with you, I genuinely don't know what I'm going to do when HBO Max comes along. I do know a few things. Netflix, although to be fair with you, Netflix actually still has a lot that's still going. I don't really watch Apple TV. I know there's a lot of good stuff on there. But then again, if you're getting it free every time you buy it, something associated with Apple, then you might as well just keep that. I mean, we have gone through this many a time. Yeah. I genuinely don't have to make that rule. I will say one thing. Hulu and Disney Plus is sort of in one because, fair enough, there is a pro and a con. Hellraiser reboot was Hulu made. We haven't got that on Disney Plus over here. The Kardashians is new. We get that on Disney Plus over here. Hellraiser I got in the sales. And can I be brutally honest, chat? I know Fraser might be interested because he does like horror. I didn't mind it, but it didn't have me like in the grips of Clive Barker fever. You know how in the original where it just feels like there's an extra bit of blood like every single second, and there's like the chains coming out, torturing someone. It just kind of underwhelmed me, if you like. And I was like, I'm so glad I didn't spend 15 quid on that, because I thought that I literally felt like that would have been 15 quid of my money wasted. So if anybody does want Hellraiser, I'd recommend to wait until it comes out on a streaming service. What was I going to say? So my advice would be, depending on what, like I said, Nathan says, vote with your wallet, but it also depends on what you like. If you get it free, if you're an Apple subscriber, whether you buy phones or just pay £7 a month for it, Apple is the cheapest. There is a lot on there to be liked. But if it was just me, at the minute, I'm quite content with Amazon Prime, Paramount, and Disney Plus. Netflix would sort of be like I'd say like monthly, or just wait for something that I want to binge watch, pay for it for a month, watch all that lot, and then cancel the subscription and set it up again. That is kind of how I'm thinking it's going to be after this year, because there's just too much choice, boys. There genuinely is.
The streaming wars will begin soon.
Yeah, the streaming wars is a whole new conglomerate of entertainment.
It's already begun.
But I will say one thing: Sky Sport, WWE made a big boo boo when they went to BT Sport instead of Sky, and didn't stay with Sky Sports. But the only problem is if you're in England, literally it starts at, I think it's 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning, which, unless you literally don't have work the next day or have no plans, you can watch. But aside from that, you can't watch it. So while we're on the subject of that, what streaming service, new one, are we waiting for? I'm waiting for the Hammer House of Horror one.
I am waiting for, because eventually one of them's going to drop. Like, I'm sorry, you cannot have this many streaming services be viable. Eventually, something is going to drop. Whether that drop be in the States, something like Peacock, or whether that drop be one of your major ones, like your HBO Maxes, it could happen.
I entirely agree with that. In fact, I seem to remember somewhere that HBO, was it HBO? Oh, one of the Discovery boss, David Zaslav, was open to buying some of the competition. I seem to remember Peacock was actually mentioned. But to be honest with you, Amazon has pretty much everything MGM's done. That will get them somewhere, but it won't get them everywhere. If you
I'm not worried about Amazon at all. I'm not worried. Amazon's coffers are so freaking big that they are going to be able to survive. You've had Amazon lose billions of dollars in the last year, and only now are they talking about bringing back Jeff Bezos as CEO.
That's what you get when
you know, Amazon, at the end of the day, they're going to be fine. Disney, at the end of the day, they're going to be fine. Their content library is huge. Their base is loyal. And their pockets are very, 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 very deep. What it's going to be is you're going to get one of your smaller ones, like your Paramount Plus or HBO Max, that are going to fall by the wayside. I am waiting. Yeah, I am waiting. I am praying for something to fall by the wayside. Because when that happens, wherever it goes, whoever, like, let's say HBO Max dies.
Which it will.
Disney acquires it, whatever. Wherever HBO Max goes, that spot is going to get a lot stronger in terms of a streaming service. But you've got so much competition in the market right now that prices aren't going to rise all that much if you were to acquire HBO Max's library. I don't believe anyway. I'm not an economist, though, and tech is a new frontier. What I'm waiting for now, because everybody and their mother's got a streaming service. Hell, if I really wanted to, I could probably start one myself. God, the amount.
That's the worst thing.
Yeah, God, the amount of content. But anyway, the idea is just wait for one of them to fall, hoping for the best.
Yeah, not to mention the smaller ones, like say a Lionsgate Plus, which I won't say doesn't have a lot, but if you were to say if Amazon was to buy that out, that'd be more content. And bearing in mind that Amazon just keeps going on going, they've bought MGM out, prices haven't changed. They added newer ones that it was included in Prime. It might start jumping up by, say, $1 or £1 like Disney Plus did when you started having more adult content. But at the same time, Disney's still cheap. And bearing in mind, you get Starz, you get National Geographic, you get Marvel, you get Disney, you get Star Wars. And to be honest with you, Disney could just fucking buy every single streaming service there is.
They could.
The only problem is
I don't think they are going to.
I don't think they are.
Because Disney Plus is losing money. It's hemorrhaging money right now.
Which is why Bob Iger's been brought back.
Yeah. But that being said, Disney Plus is hemorrhaging money. Every streaming service right now is hemorrhaging money. Eventually, the ball's going to drop. Something's going to give. When that something gives, that's what I'm looking for.
I think Judgment Day is coming, gentlemen. Not the actual Judgment Day, but Streaming Wars Judgment Day.
Netflix probably going down. They were already dropping subpar quality stuff, and they pissed off the JoJo Bizarre Adventures.
It ain't about who puts out stuff right now. It's about it's about dollars and cents.
And the other thing is, gentlemen, it's about what deals run out when, because the minute HBO Max comes over here, Netflix will lose all of its Warner Brothers stuff. So Friends it will lose. Big Bang Theory it will lose. So it's not just, I'll say, in one country, it's worldwide. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's places in Europe that actually get HBO Max, and Friends and Big Bang Theory aren't, say, on Netflix, and they are actually on there. But when
doing a deal with them?
But when Netflix comes over here, I truly feel that that's going to be the final nail when they lose all the content that they pay so many millions for every single year. When that reverts back to the original owner of what it is, then you can probably kiss goodbye to Netflix. But it is only 2023. There is still plenty of time. Who knows? We might even come across a world in about 10 years where you still can buy a petrol and diesel car.
Who knows?
I think we've bored the ladies and gentlemen enough, not to mention the fact that we have to get through Vince McMahon, which, to be fair, is enough for me to just fall asleep and imagine that I'm in the drunken stupor. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to the Blabbermouths.
I, for one, would like to thank Dean Connolly for bringing up my new and improved podcast, the Vince McMahon Naptime Hour, where you can hear all about my exploits, me, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and my lust for power, money, women, and Michael Fraser.
Just end it now, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you like what we do, contact us or contact me on www.deathpixie.ca if you want to talk about voiceover opportunities or commission me for some of your own. www.deathpixie.ca is the best way to get a hold of me. You can also find Michael Fraser on the brand new, never before seen Peppa Pig fan forum, iHeartPeppaPig.com. One glorious British Columbian's man's dream to house the biggest fan site to Peppa Pig ever. We wish him luck on his new endeavor and hope that he will succeed beyond all limit.
What's this? Something just came in. You can find Nathan Tasker on KingdomHeartsIsMid.com, where he'll tell us why it's a mid franchise.
Now see there again. Yep, absolutely. I will. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you why it's a mid franchise. It is true. Your numbered entries are great. Some of the video games are great. However, the reason why it's a mid franchise, ladies and gentlemen, is because not enough Sora. Sora is the god among men in Kingdom Hearts, and he needs his story to continue for decades upon decades. I am so looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 4. However, do we see Sora in any sort of extended media? No. Do we see Sora in any sort of video game crossovers? Well, we just started. We've seen him in Smash Bros. But aside from that, no. We need more of this kid for Kingdom Hearts to be seen as God tier. As of right now, it is just mid. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find me on KingdomHeartsIsMid.com.
All right, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do, Nathan. We're going to get you to win the audience over now. We're going to put Sora in the movie scenarios.
All right. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, what movie scenario do you want?
All right, Terminator 2. Sora meets the Terminator.
Aw, look at the cute little robot. You're awesome. Let's be friends. I've got a robot buddy too. His name's Baymax. Why are you looking at me like that? Hey, guns aren't friendly. Ha, ha, ha. Riku, we gotta take this thing down.
All right, Sora goes up against Ganondorf, but like the animated show series.
Whoa, Ganondorf? Like, what are we talking? 90s animated Ganondorf here, or Smash Bros? I need to know for specifics.
90s animated.
Oh, okay. Well, excuse me, princess. That's all I got.
Oh.
All right, we're gonna go into Dean's favorite ones. All right, Sora meets Kate Bosworth. All the
Hey, hey, listen, buddy, Kate. I've got a friend who would love to meet you. As a matter of fact, I've got a song that he wants to sing to you the first time he meets you. Do you want to hear it? All right. Da 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 da. You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old pal said. Boy, you got a friend in me. Da-da, it's kind of a small friend. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
All right, we're gonna go on the live shows now. Sora meets the Power Rangers.
Ha! Ha! Oh, you guys got really cool costumes. Where can I get those? Oh, you've got a Megazord? I've got something better. Goofy! Go out there and absorb all my hits!
Jesus. Have you got anything else for him, please, or are you just gonna?
We gotta go. We gotta go into live shows, live audience. Sora goes up against Roman Reigns.
Just don't say acknowledge me.
Sami Zayn is better than you. Why do you?
Here's one. Sora meets Bruce Campbell.
Hey, weren't you that waiter in that one Spider-Man movie? Isn't that the only thing you've ever done? What do you mean you've done other things? I didn't know. Sorry. Just, you're not that good. I mean, when you brought Donald his duck à l'orange, you didn't mention there was duck in it. Not to mention, I heard from a very reliable source that a man by the name of Fede Alvarez is already doing what you're doing, and doing it way better. So,
how many more weeks are we going to do before we can finally say goodbye and good night?
Why don't you do us all a favor and retire?
You say that last one.
Sorry, is that the last one? Do you have more for me?
I got one more.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Sora is the Dungeon Masters and Dungeons and Dragons. There you go. I just want you to free will this.
That's going to be like a 4-hour show.
You can do it.
If you really want Sora as a dungeon master, I've got to make a whole campaign. I mean, there's got to be playable characters. You guys got to have your classes. Plus, at the end of the day, no matter what happens, even if you're the evil guys, everyone all has to become friends. So really, that's an impossible ask.
So you're telling me that you could not do a Kingdom Hearts D&D campaign? If you
I can and I will. I just need time.
You can't do it in 4 seconds. You need to.
No, I can't. I can tell you that my campaign is going to be about the 7 lights gone missing. But that's all I can tell you.
But now I want this. Like, I want to actually
See-
do this on the podcast episode.
Well, see, yeah, I'm legitimately going to need time to do this. If you want this done, make sure that you give me the time to do this. I can't just come up with a campaign in 4 seconds. You know that more than anybody, Dungeon Master.
Ryan
I know
has
the
to do
Peppa
it.
Pig D&D campaigns you usually run with your friends at Gokai Studios, home of the new Paranormal Patrollers comic, and many others like Fossil Ninja Burger Warriors can come up with things in like 3 seconds because your knowledge of Peppa Pig is more encyclopedic than your comic book knowledge. But some of us need time.
Now, if you want to see this happen on this podcast, you have to.
you know what's funny? I know I've zinged you, but you can't do anything about it because I can hear the joy in your voice.
If you want this to happen, then by all means, contact Final Cut Official on Instagram with the hashtag Nathan Tasker to wear himself out.
Yeah, let us know. I'll do it.
Although I didn't specify what part of him would be worn out. I'm guessing his voice, and then his sanity, and then just about everything else would be worn out.
We got to think about when we're going to set this, in what era of the Keyblade Wars. Am I the Master of Masters? You know, there's so many things you have to consider. You can also find Dean on Final Cut on Instagram.
Final Cut Official, I believe you'll find it is, sir.
You're
And
going to
also on-
Final
and
Cut
on-
Official? Wow, Mel gave you an upgrade.
I gave myself an upgrade. Just like you can find us on YouTube on Final Cut Presents, I think it's called Final Cut Presents Director's Cut Podcast.
Oh, YouTube, so they can see our faces now?
When we decide to do video, yes, but I'm just putting some gaming stuff on there for the time being.
Oh, nice.
It's only shorts, and I'm going to start doing my Williams F1 manager career, which I've been thinking about doing for ages. But now
The only thing I know about cars is that they've got horns that go honk.
not these ones. These ones have V6 turbos, V6 hybrids, I should say, which do sound quite nice. And in fact, they sound so nice. Nina Dubrov nearly shit herself at Monaco last year when she heard them.
Oh, Dean, you shouldn't talk about feces on a podcast.
I talk about Nina Dubrov.
Yeah, but still talking about letting brown stuff come out of her body. It's not family friendly.
You said this was family friendly, because I never did.
Yeah, but I did. It's when I come out. When everything is nice and happy.
I've been happy. Unfortunately, I was happy, but unfortunately now we have to leave it for another week. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Comic Book Encyclopedia, who was a little late, and the Discount Mark Hamill, who was here right on time, and myself, who was ready and waiting, we will see you next week. Not quite sure what the topic's going to be, but we'll just see how the week goes and go from there. So, on behalf of Mark, the Encyclopedia, and myself, thank you.
And remember, Kate Bosworth is going to be in the new D&D campaign. I don't know how, but Dean will not play without her. So get ready, Kate. You're going to be immortalized in Dean's life forever. See you guys soon, everybody. Bye.